Terry here, and welcome to today's episode where we are going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, which is investing for kids. Now, it doesn't have to be your child, it could be a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, or just someone in your life where you want to help them in their future selves by investing in the stock market for them. So, what does it look like to invest or have an account where you can invest for a child? I'm going to show you some things about the impact of waiting to invest, and then some of my favorite brokerages that you could use to invest for a child in your life. So, the types of accounts that we're going to be talking about today are custodial accounts, and there are two types: the uniform transfers to minor act, the utma, or the uniform gifts to minor act, the ugma. They're very similar, but there are some definite differences that you should be aware about. So, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about the differences between them, and then a couple of things I wish I knew before I opened up my account. So, the biggest thing is that the ugma becomes ownership of the child when they turn 18, and the utma is when they turn 21. You can have multiple of these accounts. So let's say I opened up a custodial account with M1, which is actually one of the places I have. But maybe I opened up one at Fidelity. Both of these can be used alongside a 529 plan. And if you're not aware, a 529 plan is typically used as another type of investment vehicle for someone that is going to be going to college or trade school. So when your little bundle of joy is born, you have no idea what path they may take. So some people will choose a custodial account in case that young adult at the age of maturity isn't going to go to college or even a trade school. They're going to work, or maybe they're going to be an entrepreneur. You just never know. But those are some of the major differences between the accounts. Another thing to point out, and I kind of skipped over it as the first line, is that you can have multiple contributors to these accounts. This is awesome. So let's say you open up an account for your child, your siblings, parents, friends, whomever can contribute. As of this recording, it just before the holidays. So this would be the perfect time to open up an account and say, hey, instead of getting a huge gift for the child, maybe contribute to a custodial account where you can then turn around and invest in some stocks or ETFs that's going to have a much bigger and longer lasting impact on their future. Now, I'm not saying skip the gifts. I mean, everybody likes a good gift, but definitely consider having multiple contributors to your fund so that you and your family or spouse or whomever are not bearing the weight of everything for that child. So the last thing that I want to point out on this slide is just a couple of things I wish I knew. I could have sworn when I opened up the account, I opened up an UTMA, that the age of maturity was 18. I probably just goofed this, honestly, is that it's typically 21 for the UTMA. And so I have to wait in one of my accounts until Auntie's Angel becomes 21. But when I opened it, I was thinking this will be great for her to have some money for when she goes to college. Now, she does have a 529 plan, but I was like, are you kidding me? So, if you happen to be in a state where realize that if you move and that child is a resident of a state where it's 21, they're going to have to wait. The other thing that caught me is that while I was building the custodial account, buying and selling stocks and ETFs, I could also trade options. Now, this is an advanced strategy. It's not for everyone, but you can do this in a custodial account. And so I was doing that. So when we opened up the new account under Auntie's Angel, she's 18. There isn't any history, any legal, provable history of saying, I have been trading this, even though really I have been doing the work. And so she can't trade options. At least it's looking like about 6 months or so. Now, there's some kind of ways around it, but it's not easy. So beware of that, that if you open up the UTMA and let's say your young adult then opens up the other account, don't close these. You've got years between 18 and 21 in which they can establish history under their own account, and you can continue trading options in this other custodial account. So that is something I wish I had taken the time to realize, that I wouldn't be able to maximize her new account for her and help her in her trading journey. So, the impact or cost of waiting to invest. This is a combo image that I asked ChatGPT what would be the dollar amounts if you were to start investing from age 6 months, 18-year-olds, 28 and 38, 48 and 58, but you invested monthly in the SPY from those ages, what would be the impact in retiring at the age of 67? And when you look at this, it's like, whoa, baby. So a 6-month-year-old would end up with $1.6 million, while waiting until someone's 18 is a little less than a half a mil. Now, it decreases over time. I'm hoping that you definitely will see the impact of waiting. So once a child is born and they have a social security number, you can definitely start opening up an account. Now, whether you're saying I can do $20, $50, 100, or even more a month, it's more about the time, as we can see, versus the dollar amount. Obviously, the dollar amounts would be different if you did less or more, but again, just showing the difference of not waiting is so critical. And obviously, once they become an adult, you would pass the baton to them, and hopefully, they would be able to set aside even more per month once they were working. This is how would you get started? I'm going to give you a list of some brokerages in just a minute, but basically you need to have the child's contact information, especially if it's not your child. You can maybe request it and open up an account under your own name, or you can be a contributor with the parent or guardian. My favorites, and actually I need to correct this slide, SoFi does not offer custodial accounts. They have a slew of other offerings, but when I was initially doing my research, I included SoFi because they're so popular, but they don't offer custodial accounts as of this recording. So M1 is definitely my favorite, and it's for the Pi feature, which I'm going to show you. Fidelity, Schwab, and Acorns. Autopilot is the best thing. If you can automate it and not think about it, it makes it easier to do. And what I did is, well, I ended up choosing a variety of stocks and ETFs. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have just focused on one or two and built them up to at least 100 shares. And then I would have focused on something else, built it up to 100 shares, and then so on and so forth. So in this list, I want to give a quick overview of some of the differences between the investment platforms. M1 Pi feature is very simple to use. By far, they are my favorite investing tool. My long term are with Fidelity. But I'm not going to read everything to you. I'll let this stay up here for a second. You can always pause the video and take a look to see what you are interested in. The things that were of interest to me were that I could buy and sell fractional shares, which all of them do. That means if the share costs $500, but I only have 50, I'm going to buy a fraction or a piece of it until I can afford a whole share. And I'll just keep adding to the account. I am not a financial planner. This has just been my jabber, that if I had focused on, let's say it was Apple, if I'm putting $50 a month towards it, I'm going to build that one asset, meaning the Apple shares, quick to 100 faster than if I take $50 and I'm trying to buy 20 different things. It's going to take longer. You'll get there, but it's going to take longer. And so, again, if I had to do it all over again, I would focus, put my money towards something, build to 100, and then pick another one that I wanted to have in my portfolio. Customer support is an important thing to me. I can reach Fidelity via phone really quickly, and that's where my long-term bigger money is. Whereas with M1, it's more chat and email. Now, I haven't had too many major issues with them, but it's just something that it would be nice to be able to just pick up a phone. Another thing that was important with as money grows is the ability to trade options. Now, I've already mentioned that this is an advanced feature or advanced strategy, not something that I would recommend for any beginner, but there's a way to generate income, but you need at least 100 shares of a particular stock or ETF. M1 doesn't allow any of that. But I look at M1 as a building phase, whereas when I want to do maybe more advanced features, I'm looking at Fidelity and Schwab slash Thinkorswim. That's their desktop app. Acorns and M1, I would say, are more in line together or similar. Acorns has some matching for different types of accounts. I think IRA matching that M1 doesn't have, but their cost structure are very similar. So it's okay to have more than one brokerage. So if your primary for building was M1, and once you grew it and you wanted to do some advanced features, maybe you had Fidelity to your overall investment strategy and portfolio. It's okay to start with those things too. They all have their pluses and minuses. They change and add features over time. Look at the platform that's going to be easy to use for you, your schedule, and that you're able to. The last thing are some links. They're going to be in the description of the video. So you have a variety of things to choose from. Please take a moment. Also, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any videos, and let me know what you think. Are you currently investing? If you have any questions or comments, comment below, and I'll see you next time.